Greetings, Earthlings. I would like to share with you this nice little one-of-a-kind zine thingy that I made. Alright, Oscar Wilde, as you know, is wonderful, and this is quotes from his essay, The Soul of Man Under Socialism. The proper aim is to try and reconstruct society on such a basis that poverty will be impossible. Charity creates a multitude of sins. What is needed is individualism. If the socialism is authoritarian, if there are governments armed with economic power as they are now with political power, if, in a word, we are to have industrial tyrannies, then the last state of man will be worse than the first. Of course, authority and compulsion are out of the question. It is only in voluntary associations that man is fine. The true perfection of man lies not in what man has, but in what man is. Private property has crushed true individualism and set up an individualism that is false. Indeed, so completely has man's personality been absorbed by his possessions that the English law has always treated offenses against a man's property with far more severity than offenses against his person. It will be a marvelous thing, the true personality of man, when we see it. All limitation in morals and in life is wrong. All modes of government are failures. The state is to make what is useful. The individual is to make what is beautiful. It is mentally and morally injurious to a man to do anything in which he does not find pleasure. At present, machinery competes against man. Under proper conditions, machinery will serve man. A map of the world that does not include utopia is not worth even glancing at. Art is individualism, and individualism is a disturbing and disintegrating force. The true artist is a man who believes absolutely in himself because he is absolutely himself. The artist is never morbid. To call an artist morbid because he deals with morbidity as his subject matter is as silly as if one called Shakespeare mad because he wrote King Lear. Selfishness is not living as one wishes to live, it is asking others to live as one wishes to live. Man has sought to live intensely, fully, perfectly. When he can do so without exercising restraint on others or suffering it ever, and his activities are all pleasurable to him, he will be saner, healthier, and more himself. The chief advantage that would result from the establishment of socialism is undoubtedly the fact that socialism would relieve us from that sordid necessity of living for others. The new individualism is the new Hellenism. So let me tell you something about the materials and the process here. Like last year, I was watching a bunch of zine videos, mostly from Braddy Bree, and I made a couple of zines, but I also just made a whole bunch of like layouts to use later because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them. And alright, so I use some of those here. Let's see, the brown paper bags, actually those were left over from making the covers for my advanced reading copies for volume 1 of Mermaids in Space, which I'm going to be sharing with you soon. I still have to get them printed from the print shop, but I did make my covers. Let's see, this piece of paper you see with the spiral, I've had that since like 2008. This map also, a guy named Paxis gave me some maps around about 2008, I'd say. Let's see. A lot of these space pages came out of a book on space that I got from my used library sale just a couple months ago. This page was from last year. I was doing some crayons with ink over it. Made a nice effect there. This pen that you see me using here, this white, is an oil pen. I also used some Sharpies. This layout, so this piece right here, this is from a painting from like the first year I ever started doing art, and that was like 2005, 2006. That is a lot of history right there. And then these this paper right here is from a zine I was making this past year. But it was like a piece that I didn't end up using, so I put it on something else. Let's see. This also was a very old pastel painting that I did, or oil pastel, probably from between 08 and 06. Very vintage oil pastels. Oil pastel was my first medium. I mostly stopped using them because they don't like really dry, and then I tried to fix them with Mod Podge and then they got ruined. So, but yeah, I mean, this still survives all those years because I didn't put Mod Podge on this one. Let's see. This piece is from last year. I was testing out some watercolor pencils. Or no, I was testing out some Caran d'Ache because I got those wax Caran d'Ache pastels last year. This piece is from some watercolor that I like later painted over with black and later cut it into pieces to make cards out of. So this has gone through several phases in order to make this. Another piece of the same map. And this drawing of Oscar I did in the last year. This logo of Memory Publishing I've been using since about 2008. And you can see I signed and dated it. I bound this by hand with a piece of leather. This is a nice piece of leather cord, which was part of a lot of stuff I got from this lady on Marketplace, from a Buy Nothing group. She had a ton of what turned out to be really nice jewelry materials, a lot of really nice stones and leather lacing, and I got it for free. It was wonderful, and so I used that. And if you would like to own this one of a kind, and I'm not making copies of this, you know, because I was like, at first when I heard Bree talk about making zines that were like one of a kind, I thought to myself, well, what's the point? Isn't the whole point of zines so that you can like reproduce it and like make a bunch of them? Which, like, maybe it is, but also I'm also on a thing where I think that like one of a kind originals that you touch with your hands are the best thing. And I think especially with something like this where it's very much like color, I think this is better as a one of a kind. And also this cover piece actually happened to be the cover of the book, the space book. And so this has a really nice texture to it. It definitely feels like a cover. So yeah, if you would like to own this lovely one-of-a-kind book that I'm not making copies of, you can PayPal me. You can PayPal me $20 to my PayPal, and I will send this to you because it has lots of my personal energy in it, as well as quotes from Oscar's wonderful essay, because Oscar wrote a lot of things. It wasn't just Dorian Gray and the importance of being earnest, although those are wonderful. Wrote lots and lots of stuff, you know, and lots of it is pertinent. It's very pertinent. So, I'll see you later.